right, hello and welcome to another expert interview. My name is John Golden from SalesPOP Online Sales Magazine and Pipeliner CRM, and I'm joined today by Gordon Tredgold, who is in Florida, if I'm not mistaken, Gordon.
No, I'm actually in Dusseldorf.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
actually midnight in Dusseldorf. Yeah, I'm working. I'm working for a client for Jitsu,
Oh,
helping them a major project, and I'm enjoying the Christmas markets.
oh, fantastic. Well, we have some up late in Dusseldorf. That's a real treat. I'd say the Christmas markets are fun there, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Gordon is the author of the book Fast, Four Principles Every Business Needs in order to accelerate growth. And this is what we're going to talk about today. We'll just kind of go through each of the four and, just at a superficial level. Obviously, if you want to go in more in depth, obviously get the book. But what made you hone in or in on four principles, Gordon?
I actually honed in on three. What I'd been doing was I was coaching somebody, and I asked them. I was coaching them for an interview, and I said, so what's your unique selling point? What are your strengths? What makes you different? And he said, I don't know. What makes you different? And I said, actually, I don't know either. It's easy to say, hardworking, honest. That doesn't make you different. That just makes you the same as everybody else. And I'd been working for 20 years as a turnaround expert, and I started to go back and look at it. And I have a mathematics and IT background, so very good at pattern recognition and systematizing things. And I started to wonder whether I had a process that I was subconsciously following that I could, kind of pull out. And I found that there were three things that I did over and over again. And that was got people to focus on what the goals were, simplify it and to increase efficiency and probability of success, and also transparency. So get good performance measures. Can we see how well we're doing? Because if you it's like playing sport. If no scoreboard and it's a close game, how do you know whether you're hanging on or you're trailing when there's 30 seconds to go? So I had simplicity, transparency, and focus, and I wanted to write a book about that. And a very good friend said to me, "What about accountability?" And I said, "Well, it goes without saying." And he said, "But if you say it, you've got fast." And I thought, wow.
Because otherwise, fist, the four principles, the three principles doesn't work as well. But it's a good point, though, that he made, because you say, what about accountability? It goes without saying, and I know we're going out of order here in the four, but here's the thing about accountability. Everybody agrees that there's a need for accountability, but everybody normally subconsciously agrees that accountability starts with other people, right?
Yeah. Well, there's two things that people tend to agree on. One, it's the job of everybody else, and two, it's really, really hard. So let's just hope that it magically happens, because a lot of time accountability comes into confronting people. Why haven't you done this? And a lot of people just shy away from the confrontation. So when I sent the book out for review, a lot of people came back and said, love the four principles, and they fit together really well, because focus is what, accountability is who, simplicity is how, and then transparency is how far, where are we, and how far do we need to go to get there. So they fit together very simply. People like that. But a lot of experts came back to me and said, a lot of the stuff around focus, simplicity, and transparency we've seen before, not put together in the way you've done it. Accountability is the real differentiator here. Very few people touch that subject. It's kind of like, you need to be accountable, and that's it. Go do it.
Yeah.
And I started to look at it in a lot of detail and try and not demystify, but not demystify. Try and find a way to make it non-confrontational. And I found a couple of ways that really helped. And accountability. If you do it too hard, you get into that blame culture,
Right.
which kills accountability. But if you look at accountability from what I think a leader's real job is, and a leader's real job is to help people be successful. And if you see accountability as what do you need from me in order to be successful, so you come at it from a support perspective, it's a lot less confrontational and it's a lot easier to handle it that way. So look at it from a understanding where we are, and if it's not going well, provide support, and if it is going well, good job, well done. And the other thing as well is that if you're in the turnaround business, so this will probably resonate with a lot of people. In January, when you decide that you're going to lose the £20 you've put on for Christmas, you'll get on the scales, and the first thing you'll do is you look down and go, "Holy crap!" and you'll see a number you don't like. And this happens with a lot of turnaround, and it's very easy to become critical of where we are. But the way to handle accountability is to say, thank you for being prepared to turn it around. Obviously, we don't like where we are, but let's figure out what we can do to move forward. And in 2-3 months' time, if they haven't moved 1 inch forward, then it'll become a little bit confrontational, and probably quite rightly so. But if you can do it from a, don't be too critical of where we're starting from, but more supportive on the where we're going to go to, find that people will be a lot more embracing of it. And I found a really good way, and accountability starts with us. If you're not accountable, people won't be accountable. I always tell the story of my mother who smoked 40 a day, puffing away in a cigarette, telling my 2 sisters, "You shouldn't smoke." That just doesn't work.
Yeah.
You to walk the talk.
Yeah, do as I say, not as I do, right?
But I found a really easy way, because with accountability, you can't delegate it. I can't tell you to be, I can tell you to be accountable, but accountability is something that people accept. It's not something they're given. You give them responsibility, but they accept and take accountability. And it's how do you get them to take it and take ownership? And the way that I found to get people to do that is very, very simple. And it's to ask them one question: do you have everything you need in order to be successful?
Right.
And when they say yes, they've implicitly accepted accountability, because I have everything I need. And when I coach people, they say, "But what happens if they say no?" Well, give them everything they need. Because if you haven't done that, they fail, then you're accountable, not them. We can't, you can't criticize somebody for not making apple pie when they didn't have any apples. That doesn't work that way. So you just have to ask that question, and often you might get feedback of, "I have everything I need, I'm just not sure what I need to do." So it allows you to have that conversation to clarify the goal. And as I say, once they say yes, now they've tacitly accepted accountability.
And I love that. That's a great way of doing it. The first one you have here, focus, right, is kind of very dear to my heart. I had a company briefly for a while that I called Focused Revenue Results, because I'm just a huge believer in focus, and the fact that a lot of organizations are not successful because, number one, they don't know what to focus on, they don't have agreement on what to focus on, or they focus on too many things. And obviously, if what's that old saying? Neil Rackham, the author spin selling, used to use this one: if you chase 2 monkeys or something, you won't catch either.
You don't catch either. Yeah,
exactly.
And the other one I like: when everything's a priority, nothing's a priority. And the other thing that I heard, and I don't know if it's true, but I'd like it to be true, that is that you can't have multiple priorities because priority means the prior one. So it implies a singular. So when people say, "Oh, here are your priorities," well, which one's prior to all of them? There has to be a first by definition,
So why do people find this so difficult? You have it in your book. You call it a multi-billion euro / dollar / any currency you like blunder.
Yeah, well, I think it's sometimes people don't like to commit. I want to lose some weight. I'd like to lose £5. Yeah, but you're £300 overweight. I mean, let's be let's aim a little bit higher. So there's a reluctance to do that, and sometimes people they yeah. It comes to that. Are you fixing the symptom or the problem? So sometimes they think they know what it is they're after, but actually that's just the symptom. And I think it's just a lack of clarity and certainty. I did some coaching with I did a talk at Vistage. And I asked people, how many of you have got clear goals? And one of the guys said, "Yep, I've got a crystal clear goal for my business." So you can ask I'll let the others take this. And I said, "Okay, but before we do that, explain to me what your crystal clear goal is." He said, "Well, it's a SMART goal." And I said, "I like SMART goals." And he said, "I'm going to double my revenue, my company's revenue, in 2 to 4 years." And I said, "Well, which is 2 or 4 years?" And he said, "Well, it's 2 to 4 years." And I said, "Yeah, but if and I'm not going to push you to go for 2 and be aggressive. You can pick either. But if it's 2 years, then you're going to increase your revenue by 50% every year for 2 years. Now, do you have a plan to do that? If you do, good job. Let's push it off and see how you go. If you're going for 4 years, then you need a plan that's going to increase your revenue by 25% every year." So these are 2 completely different plans which have double the improvement in one of them. So which plan are we following? Because if you're going to try and double it in 2 years with a 25% plan, that's not going to happen. So we need to have that clarity. And he said to me, "Actually, yeah, we don't really have a plan."
But we have a crystal clear goal.
Yeah, of course, a plan, because you don't have you don't have a goal. And I'm very keen on for the numbers. If you want to make 1.2 million in revenue in a year, that means you've got to make 100,000 a month, which means you've got to make 25,000 a week, which means you have to make 5,000 a day. How did we do yesterday? How and people say, "Oh, well, I haven't looked at it like that." I said, "Well, so how do you know whether to give yourself a pat on the back or whether to ramp it up?" And we almost need to know that on a daily and weekly basis, because if we wait until the end of the month, we'll probably give ourselves, "Oh yeah, well, I'll just wait till next month to let figures bed in." And now you're 2 months in and you're nowhere near, and your chance of hitting your goals gone. So we need to have that, that crystal clear focus. And then what do we need to do today? What do we need to do this week? What do we need to do this month? And when you have that clarity, and this comes back to simplicity, it's a simple approach to it. And if you have a simple plan that you believe in, it's going to generate you 5,000 a day, your plan has now really got legs. If you don't know how you're going to generate the 5,000 a day, then that 1.2 million it's a pipe dream.
Yeah, absolutely. So just on the point of simplicity, right? So you often hear people today go, "Oh, business is so complicated. I'm so busy. I have no time. Everything is so much more complicated." And yet at the same time, we're being given all these tools that say, "Oh, simplicity makes it easy for you," whatever. So there's a whole paradox conflict going on there. Anyway, But this idea of simplicity, like simplicity is one of the hardest things to achieve, right?
No,
People just seem to be hardwired to complicate things unnecessarily.
yeah, Confucius said, "Life is complicated, man overcomplicates it," and
Hmm.
it's true. It's easy to simplify things, but we don't take that option. And it's like when you look at the nutrition business and fitness, the number of books and diets and blah de blah de blah de blah. There's a very simple way to lose weight: eat less, exercise more.
Hmm.
That's it. In a nutshell, that's the way to go and do it. But people look at that and think, "Oh, I don't want to do that." It's difficult to do, but it's a simple plan, and you're just looking for that magic bullet. I'll do the 5 minute abs, the 3 minute abs. They think it's a simple approach, but it's actually an approach that's not going to work. So we've got to find approach. We've got to find approaches that are simple to understand, that we can believe in, and when we do that, in my experience, people are not afraid of hard work; they're afraid of failure. So if they believe in the approach, they'll follow it. And the example I often give with that is when I decided to do my first ever marathon. I was 52. I'd never run more than 5 miles in my life, and I announced on Facebook, because once it's out,
Yeah, you're done. You have to do it.
Facebook keeps that forever. They will be back. And I said, I'm going to run a marathon within 12 months. My two best friends said to me, it's probably not the best time to tell you this, but you are too fat, you are and you are too unfit. So maybe we just need to edit that and put half marathon or 10,000 meters. And I said to them, but I have a plan. And they said, okay, tell us what your plan is. And I said, well, I've got the Virgin Marathon plan, and tomorrow I'm going to run for 15 minutes. And they said, yep, you could do that. And I said, then the day after, I run for 15 minutes. And they said, well, if you could do it on day one, you can do it on day two. I said, on day three, I run for 10 minutes, I walk for 5, and then run for 5. So now I'm going for 20 minutes. And they said, yeah, that seems doable. And then I run for 15 minutes, I take a day off, and then I run for 20 minutes straight. And they said, okay. I said, well, week 2, I run for 20 minutes, run for 15, walk for 5, run for 5, take a day off, run 25 minutes. And they said, well, yeah, so your plan is to just run 5 minutes more every week? And I said, yeah. And in 6 months, I'll be running for 4 to 4.5 hours, which will be enough to do a marathon. And they looked at me and they said, well, we'll do it with you. Now, they didn't want to run a marathon. They didn't think they could run it. They didn't think I could run it. But when I laid out that small step-by-step approach, they just went, yeah, this might just work. And we didn't take a marathon and convert it from 26 miles into 13 miles. It was still 26 miles. And we had to run every day. But we had a plan we believed in. And so a lot of times with simplicity, it's not just about making it easier. It's about making it easier to understand how we're going to be successful.
Right.
And if people want to do that, and they believe in the plan, now they're engaged, excited, boom, and off they go. So as leaders, that should always be our job. Explain to people how you're going to be successful.
So did all 3 of you complete the marathon?
I've run 10.
You run 10? My God.
They're all 3. I ran 4 marathons in a 10-week period. And people said to me, how can you do that? And I said, well, I'm going to run one every 3 weeks. When you think of 4, it sounds a lot, but one every 3 weeks. And the world record for running a marathon a day, I won't give you the full story, but 5 years ago, 6 years ago, the record for running a marathon a day was 50 days in a row. Yeah. Today it's 607. A Spanish guy ran 607. So 4 in 10 weeks.
Yeah.
feels like I'm not really making much of an effort. So a lot of the simplicity and belief comes from us creating showing examples. And when I decided to run the marathon, there's a gentleman called Faruja Singh. He's a 100-year-old Sikh gentleman who did the London Marathon in 7.5 hours.
Mm.
Please don't tell me a 100-year-old guy is fitter than a 52-year-old. I might have to commit suicide right now. So it's about creating those images of this is what other people have done, and this is how we'll do it. And I've coached people to write books. I've helped people achieve amazing results because they get that belief. They see the step-by-step approach. They make some early gains. And one of the things I talk about, the plan for achieving anything is aim high, start small, celebrate, keep going. And if you do that, it accumulates that compound effect. And if you're excited and seeing progress, off people will go. And that's helped me, with companies increase their performance by 50 to 500%. Because once you get them thinking about possibilities, I ran a department of 1,000 people. They would come to me and tell me, "Oh, I think we can fix this," and I'd be like, "Yeah, go do it. Yeah, go do it." But you have to just get that ball rolling.
Yeah.
It all comes from simplicity.
So Gordon, we're bumping up against time here. Do you want to just tell the listeners here and the viewers how they can learn more about you?
So simplicity, you could follow me on Twitter at Gordon Tredgold. You can go to my website at gordon.tredgold.com, or they could email me at gordon@gordontredgold.com.
So keeping it nice and simple. Listen, the book Fast, 4 Principles Every Business Needs to Accelerate Growth. I mean, it's something that I really highly encourage everybody to read. I mean, we've barely scratched the surface of it here today. Well, listen, Gordon, I want to thank you for taking time out of your Dusseldorf evening. I'm sure there was some other things that you could have been doing this evening. You could have been spending more time down at the market, drinking at the stalls, right?
Well, it's 12:26. Sleeping would have probably been close to the top of that list.
All right, listen, thanks, Gordon.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
All right, John Golden, SalesPOP Online Sales Magazine, Pipeline of CRM, another expert interview. We'll see you all again soon. Thank you.